You are now watching Zach Lesage PTCG. Let's get it!
All right, Yellhorn Podcast, episode number 9. It's a really special one today, guys. Thank you for getting us to episode number 9. The weeks just roll by. It seems like, Zach, we started this yesterday. It started off with just us two, talking about random stuff. We got a couple guests on, and the podcast has been getting better and better. This week, we have a super special guest. We have Luke Morsa from Celio's network. Amazing content creator. Awesome guy. Just super excited to have him on the podcast. I think we've been trying to get him on for a few weeks now. It's always tough with schedules and everything working out, but we finally got him. Reeled in a good one this time. How you doing, Luke?
Big fish.
Yo, guys, I'm good.
Are we calling you Luke or are we calling you Celio?
Luke. Luke's
cool.
chill.
All right,
Yeah.
Sweet man. Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of really great topics today. Fortunately, a lot of people, love Luke and gave us a lot of questions that they want to hear. They want to learn a lot about Luke. So we're going to, of course, get to those questions, sooner or later. But before we get into that, Luke, do you want to just sort of give us a little rundown? Who are you?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Luke. I run the Pokemon TCG channel, Celio's network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm 26 from New Jersey. Been playing and collecting Pokemon ever since it came to the United States. And I've been playing competitively since 2007. Off and on, kind of a casual competitive. Started getting Worlds invites a few years back. And here we are.
Awesome. Super cool.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Luke's also really good at predicting. Like, one thing that I talked about Luke about this before. I was like, often if you ever listen to like what Luke's saying about like you should play this deck for a tournament, I've often followed Luke's success quietly, and it's brought me like an international championship like finals and stuff like that. So, I mean, definitely no cap there. There's definitely some people out there that will meta manipulate. I don't send a score just bad, but it's one of those things where I have to throw that in for Cash and Thomas. I know they're here. We're hitting the episode for years, but it's one of those things where no, Luke definitely knows what he's talking about from Pokemon. 100%. So
For sure.
Yeah, I kind of came into the content creation with metagaming as my specialty. Because like, as I said, like I was casual competitive, so people outside of like the Northeast region didn't really know me as a player. So like I couldn't just come to YouTube and people watch me instantly because they know I'm an expert. So I came in more with like my statistics, my analysis, my metagaming kind of stuff to like grow my brand from there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always got to have something. You know what I mean? We can't all be Zach Lesages of the world just coming in, posting gameplay, and people are just going to come watch because. You know what I mean?
Who else is there? There's Zach Lesage, there's Trisha Paytas, there's Kanye West.
Yeah.
I mean, those are a few people they all got the same kind of controversial, undeniably good, but there's definitely some controversies there. But yeah, it's whatever. Everyone's got their own thing. You got Maddie, he
runs tournaments.
Pokemon tournaments during a pandemic. That's very original considering there's 10 events per day. And sometimes they sleep through the tournaments, the organizers. Not Maddie, but some of them do.
Some of them do.
Not Maddie.
I haven't yet. No. It's only a matter of time, I think, to be honest. But
It would be your wife slipping something in your drink if you slept through at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday. Let's be real, homie.
yeah.
Maddie's doing the Lord's work. All the tournament organizers are.
Yeah, man,
Oh, yeah.
it's pretty crazy. Like I don't know, man. There's so many people in general that run tournaments these days. There was definitely sort of like an original 3, I think, or at least there was when I came into it. And I think I was like the 4th. I might have been like, obviously there might have been more. And then after
you were like the 4th or 5th big one.
Yeah, and then when things moved to Limitless, it really, I think I've said the story a lot, but that's when the Chill Series stuff really started to blow up, and then that's when all the other tournaments came, and luckily,
you had the opportunity to look at those like other 3 though, not to name any of the 3. I think you were able to look and see what they did, imitate what was really good, and then you elevate it a little bit more. Because I mean, there's tournament organizers had YouTube channels in the past. It's not anything of a surprise. I think you just took everything and made it slightly better. And I mean, that's how a lot of companies see success. So
yeah,
I mean,
that was
like, without any bias, I think your tournaments are the best. Legitimately, I don't think that
no bias.
No, I'm being straight up serious. I'm a competitor. Like,
yeah,
I play in your events. Ask me if I play in other events.
Well,
anymore. Like I used to. Anyways,
I mean, that was very much sort of the idea, right? It was like I understood like people really had the the archetype, like the skeleton of it really kind of figured out, and they were doing it. And I was like, this is super cool. I want to do it, but like, why is it different? And when I moved to content, when I moved to content creation, I started to do that heavily. And it still is like the main idea behind it is to sort of just elevate the platform of the players. It's different if you win a 200 player tournament, get some packs, but it's much different when you're on a video for thousands of people to watch. Especially your gameplay
for sure,
or on an interview, and it I think overall it makes the process just a little bit more. I mean, I don't want to say enjoyable, but like it adds a different dimension to it, and that was really sort of my idea with everything. So
yeah, like you kind of took like what like the Hexter model. Like I think Hexter really set the model forward, which is really funny because the Hexter tournament started with 8 friends in a Discord that wanted to play Pokemon, and but you took that model and made it like a full-time YouTube channel. That always is doing content related to the tournament. So it is, you're doing a unique thing. Nobody else does a YouTube channel and a tournament series that are directly related to each other in a way like Chill does.
Right. I mean, it's oftentimes a lot of work, and for most part, it's very much unnecessary. Like when you're spending so much time just making content, where the main idea of it is just to sort of promote the players. It's like it's kind of hard to segment time to do that. But I mean, I always say Hexter's was like the one person. Like there was the Sunday Open, and then there was there was Pop at the time. But like Hexter was the one where I was like, I'm just gonna do that because that one's everything's perfect about that, especially the YouTube too. Because at one point they were, I don't want to ramble on, but like he was, of course they streamed their tournaments, but then he would make the videos highlighting the decks. And I was like, I'm not a huge streamer, but the YouTube stuff seems super cool, and that idea is perfect. And then I kind of just, but that's how it is. You know what I mean? You can't always be original. And
everyone's got their origin story, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got to start off somewhere.
I always say
it's even like that. It's even like that with decks. Like when you're building a deck, a lot of times you'll see a deck and be like, okay, I think Justin Bakari did this when he won a regionals with standard Roxy Chomp. He took the deck that Gustavo Wada and Hunter Butler played at an international and basically just made it a little better. Like it's the same thing there. Like you take a concept and that somebody else did, and like, they were the pioneer. So obviously it's not going to be 100% perfect. So you just take what they did and fix it a little bit and make it your own.
That's like Zach Lesage at Players Cup 2. It was like, you guys aren't running Mewtwo and Peak, so like get out of my face.
Yeah, he didn't invent Peak, but he threw some Mewtwo's into
it. Right, exactly.
Let's be real. There's League Battle decks. The guy, like, I'm excited to see the Luke Metal League Battle deck, and Jake Earhart tells everyone that he invented it. So,
man,
he will.
I'm ready for that.
If there's Pokegears in it, Jake's coming for royalties.
Yeah, he is.
It's like, no, Pokemon, you printed the Crushing Hammer version.
That'd be sad.
But okay, so Maddie, since you're the one who keeps me more on track than everything else, what are we talking about on this podcast this week? How are we going about things?
Well, so we're gonna go ahead and go right into the questions where that people had on social media, mainly Twitter, for Luke, and then we're just gonna get a nice little idea of who he is in a little bit more detail. I think people were just really interested to hear some things in specific, so we're gonna get those to him, and then we have some actual podcast topics that we'll all weigh on. But for now, we want to give Luke his time here.
Let's light you on fire.
All right, here we go.
We got from Scott at the Ptcg. What are your top 5 albums? Let's go.
Top 5 albums. I talked to Scott last night and I told them that I was doing some research for this one. Top 5 albums are number 1, Define the Great Line by Underoath. Number 2, Seosin Self-Titled. Number 3, Blessed Be Our Ever After by Burden of a Day. Number 4, Front Bottom Self-Titled. And number 5, Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday.
All right.
I can't say I've never heard of any of those, so take your word for it.
Hey.
Honorable mention to Youth by Citizen.
There it is.
Nice.
Hey, it's good. I mean, you did the research, man. You had him on lock. I like that.
Yeah, I don't even know if I could pick 5. There's too many. Competitive play. What got you started? What's the origin story here?
Competitive play. I've always been competitive, and I've always wanted to compete in things. Whenever I got into a card game or a video game, the natural next step, or even martial arts, so like everything I did, the natural next step was, all right, let's compete and try to be the best. Oh, and chess too. So I had, got into chess for fun, but wanted to immediately compete. I got into Duel Masters for fun, wanted to immediately compete. So Pokemon, had been into it my whole life. My friend and I, when we were 12, found a shop near us holding a cities. Let's do it. That's basically, that's it. That's
Go getter, anything that it is. It could be I don't know. There's people who play Beyblades, like Alex.
I won a 100-person Beyblade tournament when I was 10. No cap.
Look at this guy.
Drasil, all right, you got me going. Drasil Fortress base, best endurance base in the game. You got a model weight disc underneath a medium weight disc upside down, and then the attack ring was Kid Dragoon. Any more questions?
There it is, dude.
I need to know, what did you win for the, like, what was the prize?
Oh no, top. I'm sorry. Top was Grizzly. It was a red Beyblade that had a secondary attack ring, but you replaced the secondary attack ring with a weight disc. And the prize, I have no idea what the prize was. Probably like a bunch of Beyblades.
Jeez, let it rip.
Let it rip.
So I mean, we've seen the moms. I know we've seen the Shamanskys, and Diane's the best one. Why is Mama Morsa the best one? How did that happen? How'd she get?
She's been killing it in online tournaments.
Yes.
And I've had very little to none motivation in online tournaments other than the Limitless Inv and the POG 2020. So I think people started recognizing her when she day 2'd POG 2020 and beat Shintaro Ito in round 1, and she like popped off about that. But other than that, she's gone like top 8s at Hexters, day 2s and Limitlesses, things like that. I think she day 2'd at least one of the GG Tour Chill tournaments.
Yeah, she did.
So she's been like, she's a teacher. Like, she literally comes home from work. I have a second desk in my room. She comes home from work and like opens up her laptop and just starts playing Ptcgo. Like, she's like she's as dedicated to right now as I was like back when real events were going on.
She's a regular online grinder, man.
Yeah, I got tired of her playing on her Chromebook, so I bought her a new laptop over the winter because I got tired of her playing on the Chromebook and it like freezing and stuff.
That's awesome though. I would love my mom to just come play Ptcgo with me. That sounds super fun.
So yeah, that's how she became good. She's basically my star client because like I do PTCG coaching, but like she's like, I guess I've been like pseudo coaching her like my whole life of playing basically. But yeah, she started playing when I was like 14 and I started playing when I was like 12.
Okay. Cool. So she has a decade under her belt, maybe not, but the online is kind of where she's been popping off recently.
Yeah. That's she
cool.
She only went to 2 regionals before the season was canceled and she got top 64 and top 128. So like she was doing fine in IRL too.
Yeah, okay, that's sick, man. Honestly, That's awesome. It's one of those things where it's like, it seems so like, I don't necessarily want to be like looking at like a player's like age, their gender, anything like that, but I think it's so cool that your mom plays Pokemon.
No, it's definitely a thing to point out that like, a mom that has like a son that's an adult now still kept playing and she's now playing for herself. Like if she plays in online tournaments and like I'll wake up later in the day and ask her how she did. Like it's no longer a thing she does because I do it. Like
she's in it. She's you got that grinding mentality from her.
Yeah, like it's now her thing as well, and we just happen to do it together sometimes.
That's super cool. I love hearing that.
Okay, moving on. What's a completely new card you want to see designs? That's a doozy of a question, I think.
Yeah, it is a doozy of a question, and I do a lot of card design stuff, and I'm looking to start a series on my channel soon where people submit custom cards. A card I would like to see designed is, I think, something like a cessation crystal. So a tool that's on the active, so it can be stopped by multiple kinds of things. It can be stopped by gust. It can be stopped by blowers or scrappers. It can be stopped by attacks that remove tools. But it acts like a jamming net or a head ringer. But so because I know Pokemon doesn't want to make things more complicated and have us attaching cards to our opponent's cards again, I think make a card like that only works when it's attached to the active Pokemon. That your opponent has multiple ways to play around, but you make like a head ringer version where their attacks cost +1, and then a jamming net version where their attacks do minus whatever to your whole board.
I mean, that sounds kind of hot.
It does. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
More so for the head ringer part, the jamming net would just be like a glorified like hard charm or something, but like the head ringer would be cool.
What if do you think there's ever a world where they can introduce online specialty cards where they can alter a format online instead of having it in real life, so you don't have to deal with it? Because obviously online a lot of things could happen
Because they're automated, right?
that it's automated, so we don't necessarily have to worry about the complexities or taking your opponent's cards or anything like that.
Right. So people like card games could do it, and Hearthstone is the main thing. Like Hearthstone's a game that could never be played IRL because it's based off of random things happening and cards being created and stuff like that.
Right.
They could do that. I think people would like it and enjoy it and have fun. I don't think it would be competitively explored if it was a card in a format that we would never play IRL. But Pokemon would never allow that, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's also something that it seems like a lot of effort to never release it in real life or make a card that's not competitive for real life.
Yeah.
So I get
But
that.
there are things that, just shortly on that topic, there are things that Pokemon has introduced after the new ideology. Like the black and white on is when they lowered the age suggestion on the cards and wanted to make things simpler. They put Poke powers and bodies into ability. And they did introduce things after that were quite more complicated than prior things, like the head ringer and jamming that they introduced after that, you know. So it is possible. One idea I saw on Twitter was VMAXs could have lasted for 3 turns, and you just like turn a dice every turn to know which turn you're on for it. And I don't think that would be the mechanic that makes kids not want to play, but it's also something that online would be automated, like you said.
Yeah, that sounds something that like I could totally see there. And also, Maddie, I don't know if you noticed, but your webcam totally is blanking out. You need to replace that battery home slice.
It says EOS webcam utility.
Beautiful face.
The battery died
Okay,
again.
he knows.
The
You're
battery
all-
died again, so I'll have to.
You don't need to see Maddie's face then. No, I totally get it. I even remember like back in the day, like with Gardevoir EX, I think, from Dragon Frontiers, and there was
Imprison counter.
yeah, they had their own 2 different counters, and I remember even, like,
Shockwave and Imprison. Probably one of my favorite things they ever did.
I was like, I think cool things like that sound so much. I would love to see that. I don't think it adds a lot to the game. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll see how things go. I mean, in a way, I think I saw your thing. I guess for me, in order to continue on with Pokemon and be all happy and stuff like that, I need to hope that you looked into that Pokemon press release way too hard and we're like combing in between the words. And I mean, I even responded, and I feel like that's kind of like what my take is on it. I think if you look at anything that's so black and white, or look at it into a gray area, that's where things can be weird. Sometimes, like, even the way that Pokemon wrote, like, see you in London for an expanded worlds. I don't think they actually mean expand. Like, whoever writes these things might need to like be like, oh, expanded means something else too.
Expanded's a wait. It's a format?
What?
We have that?
Yeah, welcome to our Legacy Worlds 2020.
Yeah, I saw people in forums that like, wait, am I allowed to say ass on this channel?
Yeah, you could say ass. I mean, I don't know if
Dead
we said
butt.
ass on the channel.
Okay. I was gonna say like, okay, I saw just terminology I use. Sorry, I won't say it.
Fine. Sorry, parents. Much worse in my lifetime. So,
I saw people who literally, I'll say literally instead of what I was going to say, thought that they had officially announced that Worlds would be expanded by the way they phrased it.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
And then people were like, no, guys, like that's just a word they're using. Like the event's going to be expanded across because
lowercase e. I thought the lowercase e was pretty telling of that.
Mhm.
I mean, if it was a capital E, I'd be like, okay, definitely, this is expanded.
Yeah, I
world.
mean, also, there's no way they would announce that far in advance.
Right.
Like, I think the people like thinking that off the bat have to be newer to the community in the game, to like think that kind of announcement would be made that soon.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we'll see what they decide to do.
I mean, it could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen
Yeah.
and have been planned for a year and a half.
I don't
Right.
like you heard it here first. It's not happening, and Pokemon's
Mhm.
like, LOL.
They
Just
might,
to
man.
prove us wrong.
They might do whatever they need to get ADP into Worlds or whatnot.
Yeah, ADP has to win.
Yeah, right. Or else it's not. Yeah. Oh man.
Poor ADP, never gonna have a world championship deck
Hey,
until they're like the pandemic's gone on for so long. We're just not gonna do a rotation. Welcome back, every single person.
Oh no. Hey,
Oh,
if you
we'll
guys don't
see.
mind, like, can we break real quick and I'll just get the webcam back on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll edit it out in post. Sorry.
I'm good to go.
All right, and we're
Very
back with my awful, terrible webcam because my battery died on my good webcam. So it's better than nothing.
Amazing. Okay, laying into these questions, because a lot of people ask some cool stuff, and I mean, I'm kind of excited to hear it. If you were to errata one card in standard to a text, and this is from Alex Bailey, press F_TCG on Twitter. If you could errata one card to a text that you're choosing, what would it say? What's the card?
All right, Zach, I'm going to let you decide. Am I allowed to choose battle style cards?
Are you allowed to choose battle style cards?
I think so. I mean,
I want to hear both. I want to hear something from
Yeah.
now, and if you have something for battle styles. Let's
Okay,
get bonus content.
so from now, it's definitely Channeler. Like, just make it a Ranger reprint. Like, come on. And
basically, just so anyone who like might not necessarily know what Rangers does, that basically to be to nullify the effect of ADP.
yeah,
So ADP would not be a threat, even though
so
other players don't think
go
that
ahead.
ADP is necessarily as good as people think it is, or overpowered as people think it is. The card in itself is broken. The format's just not as accepting of it. Ranger would basically solve any issues that you might have.
So Ranger, I don't think like even beats ADP outright because we don't have Lele we don't have Lele or Battle Compressor versus Seeker in the format.
Yeah.
So like let's say Channeler is just a Ranger reprint. That doesn't make ADPZ not be played. What it does is it allows you to have the choice to put a counter in your deck to better handle ADPZ. The same way you can choose to put a Mew bench barrier for Pikarom, or you can choose to put a non-GX, non-V attacker for Decidueye.
right.
We've never been given a choice for a counter for ADP, and that's why it's so frustrating.
And
Our
that's-
choice is for Crushing Hammer and hope we hit heads on their water energy.
Okay. What's
And
the one
then
for
the-
battle styles?
Battle styles 100% Empoleon V. Creatures are full of cowards, and they didn't want to make Empoleon V shut off Zacian. If Empoleon V shut off Zacian, we'd be going into an entirely different card game come battle styles.
Okay.
agree.
I mean, I think that's fine. I also while I'm on the subject, I think that the fact that they made a rule box thing for me, I'm excited about that term in the future.
Yes.
I think it's super cool. The fact that there's like EX, VMAX, all these things. It's like it should just be rule box, future proof the game. I think this is the greatest idea that they've had. I'm about it.
Really good idea.
Yeah.
So whoever's there who's watching the Yellowhorn podcast, because I'm sure everyone at TPCI, Creatures, Pokemon, listens to the Yellowhorn
They're
podcast.
in one. They have their weekly call. Like, let's see what the
You gotta like
Yellowhorn's saying.
up to what Zach Lesage is doing in the world, because
Yeah, they need to keep a check on us.
start building up a case. Okay. What else do we got on here? From Zapdos TCG, do you like the first turn supporter rule? And do you wish the player going first could still attack?
I think the first turn is borderline what's ruining the game, in my opinion. Or it's not ruining the game because people are still playing it, but making it so much worse than it once was.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there should be a blanket everything can attack, but I think things with starter like attacks should have something like an alpha trait that allows them to attack going first. Like things like Dunsparce that search your bench for 3 Pokemon,
Yeah.
or
right.
Beacon, or draw 3 cards, or search your deck for a supporter. Things like that should be allowed to attack on turn
Like
1.
Call for Family
Well,
or things like
right,
that.
but
yeah.
while things like Brave Blade, like when we have big basics with swinging 230
Yeah.
that have energy excel, we shouldn't have turn 1 attacks, but we should have some Pokemon like that just like baby Pokemon. That I'll add that. I'll end that question with that. Baby Pokemon have had so many different rules on them as a blanket baby rule in the Pokemon game. I think what we should have as the next baby rule is this Pokemon can attack turn 1.
Yeah. I mean, did they correct me if I'm wrong, did they add that supporter rule? Was it like because of Welder, or was that just sort of like
No,
around
it was
time?
Sword and Shield. It was Sword and Shield base.
Okay.
They added it at the same time as Marnie and Zacian, so I think that was a design concept that went into Intrepid Sword being a good turn 0 ability, and Marnie being a frustrating card to have been played on turn 1.
Right.
I think it allowed the design of those 2 cards to pass.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that you mentioned that, for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's fine. I honestly agree with that. I think that there's a lot of attacks. Like, sometimes you just draw an absolute garbage hand, and it sucks, and it'd be nice to be able to build things around. And I mean, I think a lot of the other first turn rules, I don't know if it's just like my bias from playing other game or from playing in yesteryear formats and stuff like that. I think it was really cool, especially like when you could go rare candy. I don't know, like maybe the game's power creep, like you said, is just gross Visation if you could attack on the first turn. But maybe they could even make it like your non-Pokemon V can attack on the first turn.
Yeah, or like you can't damage your opponent on the first turn or something like that.
Yeah.
So you need like the special condition, like something that's like a defensive kind of build up your thing. I think that's kind of fun.
Rule boxes can attack, like you said. That would be good.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Like, there's got to be something there. From Rebecca at Victini Bex. Any other trading cards you've played other than Pokemon? What do you like and not like about them? That's cool.
I've played a lot. I've played the original DBZ back when I was like 6 to 8 or 9 or 10 when it got discontinued, and GT. Duel Masters, Kaijudo, Magic the Gathering, Legends of Runeterra, Force of Will, Cardfight Vanguard. I don't know if I said Hearthstone and Runeterra. I might have said those already, and Pokemon. And the 2 original Digimon TCGs, but not the newest one yet. I competed like regional level for Force of Will. I got an invite or 2 in Cardfight Vanguard for things. Duel Masters, I won like smaller tournaments and stuff. Pokemon has always stuck out to me because of the unique things that they have. There are so many card games that have to rely on the mana system and creatures and spells. And Pokemon having evolving and energy attachments and the prize card mechanic has always kept it so unique to me. Whereas if there's another card game I like, I can go to like 1 of 10. But for the field that Pokemon has, I can only go to Pokemon, which is why I get so frustrated when they do things to make the game worse, in my opinion. Because it's a game that I can't just go to the next game from Pokemon. Like when Hearthstone got bad, I went to Magic. When Magic, I didn't like it, I went to Runeterra because they're fairly similar. Right. But with Pokemon, you can't just go next. There's not another card game like Pokemon. And I think the Pokemon trading card game from inception to 2011 and then from 2014 to 2018 are the best card games that we've ever had anywhere.
Yeah,
I get it. I've been addicted to Pokemon my whole life, so I like.
Yep.
I don't foresee a world like. I honestly like tell myself that I'm gonna like if I win a world or something. And I know I talked about this with Wolfie on the podcast before, where it's just like, man, like you won worlds. Like, how did that make you feel? Because like for me, I'm like. I've always wanted to been there, living in my brother's like footsteps. He won worlds in 2010. I want to get there, and I don't know if I could ever quit, even if I won worlds.
Oh yeah, if I won worlds, I would just
such a high. Like I'd
like
be
if
like,
I won worlds, I would want to be like what Wolfie's doing, like like carrying on the legacy.
Right.
Yeah. Yeehaw! I'd be doing great. Like there'll be little John music videos with me doing straight out of that Pikachu trophy thing. 100,000%. So out of Pokemon, since you think so highly of the game, Acro the Mudkip at Acro TCG, what's your favorite game mechanic so far?
Definitely passive Pokebodies. And there's 3 I have to explain what I mean. Sure. So Tyranitar from Stormfront has a Pokebody that says when you're on your opponent's turn, when your opponent uses a Pokepower, you may attach a basic dark energy from the discard to this card. And then Tyranitar for 5 energy spreads either 20 or 30 everywhere. And for 2 colorless, it does 20 for every energy on it. So you punish your opponent by letting you get all that energy on. There's an Ampharos that puts damage when your opponent attaches an energy, just like the Arctazult we got in Darkness Blaze or Vivid Voltage.
Yeah.
And then the other one is actually a Poke Power, Alakazam's Power Cancel from Mysterious Treasures, the last Alakazam we got. If you're on your opponent's turn, if your opponent uses a Poke Power, you can discard 2 cards from your hand to cancel that Poke Power.
Yeah.
So things like that that interact on your opponent's turn. And I know that Alakazam is more like a power spray-ish thing. So it's something I would never expect them to bring back with the ideologies they've set. But the Tyranitar is something I could definitely see coming back because they did bring back the Ampharos in the form of Arctazult.
Right.
I couldn't even Power Spray was like, it was such a cool moment, but even like playing through there, like there were so many moments where you see people like baiting their opponents into like thinking they had it, or like playing it too late, or things like that. Like it was a whole can of worms that doesn't I think it's so cool, and I like that you have control over your opponent's turn, but just even things like that made it difficult. Probably easier on an online setting, but in real life, I remember it was a bit of a headache.
Yeah, so like in Magic, where you have instant speed stuff happening all the time, every single game, every turn, you wait to see if your opponent has a reaction. In Pokemon, there was 1 card in a pool of hundreds.
Yeah.
So like it was much different. Whereas with Alakazam, it's on the board. You know your opponent can use it once this turn. So every time you use an ability, you ask if they're using Alakazam because it's on the board, open knowledge to everyone they can use it once this turn.
There's no open deck list when it comes to
right. So Power Spray.
Don't even play Power Spray, and like the judge is looking, they're like, I see your deck list, homie. You're honestly just like you're yeah.
Yeah, like I loved Power Spray, but a mechanic like Alakazam is much more interaction friendly and tournament friendly and gameplay friendly.
I agree with that. What else we got? We got from Brad Postcards and Cats. I mean, I guess that's very specific. At Choice Banderson, 06 or 2010 formats.
I prefer 2010 format, and I think that's because I've played it in like competitive tournaments, cities, states, regionals, etc. But 2006 is a great format too.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing the World's 2010 shirt here. I definitely like that year. I thought it was super cool. I know we talked a little bit before the podcast about Luck Chomp and Gardevoir and stuff. It's if you ever get the chance to check it out, check out the format. And I mean, kind of like the last one here to kind of go through from at Dylanzer. What is your dream edition of Ptcgo other than ranked ladder / updated clients?
My dream addition to Ptcgo is something that Andrew Wamble outlined beautifully on Limitless TCG, and that is every 3 months between the main set release, add in a retro set starting back from base set all the way to the present, and they buy themselves years and years of content. And the only way you can get that is just by buying the packs, just like you would on any other online game client. And then you start a retro ladder that is evolving with the standard formats as it did throughout history, with bans, erratas, everything like that. Even if they didn't do that and they just put every set on there all at once, just flop them all on and put every Worlds format as a queue, or at least let you make custom rule sets so you could play every Worlds format, that would be a dream for me.
Sure.
So, I mean, that kind of wraps up everything that we need to know about you and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily say that we're done. Kind of like everyone's thought process, because I know we've been basically hammering Luke here with some of these questions. Thank you to everyone in the Twitter sphere for all of that good stuff.
Yeah,
definitely
a lot of good questions. Yeah.
For sure.
Right now, Ptcgio is down for maintenance. At the time we're recording this on a Tuesday, it's down for 45 minutes. Are we stepping foot into a new world where they're going to be like minor bugs and fixes?
They're just updating Shining Fates.
Yeah, that's how they're literally putting it in the game.
You don't think there's going to be any bonus bam, we knew that Luke would be like,
No.
You don't think there's any smidgen of chance?
Absolutely not. I'd bet my entire savings that it's just Shining Fates.
How much is in your savings, bro? I know you said you're an open guy. How much are we talking about here? If you want to donate that, Maddie and I will run a fine tournament.
I have
a nice steak dinner.
I have at least $5,000 of sealed product behind my green screen, and
Okay.
I'd put all of that on that we're not getting an actual update.
They're
for
like,
Let's
TCGO
liquidate
today.
it real quick. Let's get it.
It's fine. I will find a way to get across the border as the border is currently closed. I will handpick that up myself if they add a ranked ladder. I mean, we can all hope here. I understand Shining Fates is in there. We gotta have some hope. I
have hope for the future, but not hope for like any time in the next month.
Like right now.
Yeah, I don't have hope for right now.
If we were to get any timeline, because I mean, I think they've definitely put some more look on Ptcgio in the past year than they have ever before. And I mean, that's compounded by we actually have online official events from Pokemon, i.e. the team challenges. We have the Players' Cups, stuff like that. So I mean, nowadays they're doing pretty good. There's still some glitches, whatever, but it's better than when we started the pandemic with nothing. Then they put out that survey that seemed pretty hot. Someone seems to be listening to us little guys,
or messing with us. Either way.
Or messing, exactly. Either that or they're like, LOL, we got him. All we have to do is give him a couple cracks.
Puka's sitting up in the ivory tower. We did it, boys.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. What would you ever like? What would you expect for like a rank ladder? If we could get a timeline, because I know you were like, LOL, no way, it's just Shining Fates, and I mean that's a reasonable explanation. And it's whatever, I totally get it. That makes sense, and that's what I thought. When do you think they could add a rank ladder into the game? When can they go boom and make it happen?
They could.
So there's a couple things I've been thinking about. I did recently make, for anyone listening to this that didn't watch the video, I made a whole video about my Ptcgio wish list, the feasibility, the realistic that it could happen, why Pokemon would want to do it, why not Pokemon want to do it, and why I would want them to do it. I know Pokemon as a franchise has the money, but I highly doubt that they give much of a budget to TPCI for doing things for TCG and Ptcgio specifically.
Yes.
It has been, in 6 months, it will be 10 years since Ptcgio launched.
Wow.
People have always speculated maybe they just have a contract with Direwolf Digital. Okay, let's say that they signed a 10-year contract, which people don't do that. Let's say they signed a 5-year, then another 5-year, something like that, and that's what was holding them back. Maybe we would see something this summer, if that's the case. I think if we don't get it this summer, we are never getting a better Ptcgio, because it's the 25th anniversary, and even more importantly, in my opinion, Ptcgio serves the purpose of being an online free-to-play way to learn and have fun with the Ptcgio. That's the purpose listed on Pokemon.com.
Right.
They had never planned for it to serve the purpose of competitive and official play.
Right.
It is now serving that purpose, both through third-party organizers like Maddie here, and officially by TPCI. The disconnect is Pokemon Japan, the head company, has nothing to do with this. This is a TPCI product, and the Pokemon Company Japan does not have an online client for their population, and I do not think they will want to have it, because locals and leagues and tournaments and actually playing the game is much bigger in Japan, whereas North America makes their money from the cards off of collectors. I actually think casual players in Japan are the majority over collectors. So I think that's why Japan wants to stay in their old ways and never do an online client, even though they could charge money and people would pay it. They want to keep it the way it is. And Japan definitely holds 99% of the strings that they pull over TPCI. So I give so much credit to TPCI for what they are able to do, because I expect that Japan makes it very hard for them to do anything original, unique, or creative. That survey did give me hope that we could see something like MTG Online, not MTG Arena, but MTG Online, where they have draft formats, cube formats, things like Pioneer, Pauper, Legacy, Vintage, things like that, because they do have that one special question asking about a no rule box format, asking about a cube format, asking about a draft format, and cube and no rule box format and things like that will never be the official format that we play at tournaments, because there's no reason to put out a product and say, okay, but you can't play with half of these cards for competitive play. But they could put that online as a casual experience. So I do think that's a realistic possibility that we would see this year. But if we don't see it this year, I would never expect to see it.
Yeah, I think
that's very reasonable.
Yeah, I think everything you mentioned was very much on point, and I think it was good because it kind of gave a little bit more in depth on the situation that people probably didn't think of. One thing though that I do, and if they were to implement a ranked ladder, which I do kind of think goes against their whole sort of concept and sort of their idea when it comes to Ptcgo, in terms of sort of a competitive aspect, bringing that to Ptcgo. But if they were to do that, I feel like it's going to benefit for the most part. I think it benefits the people who live stream daily Ptcgo.
It benefits the content creators.
Yeah, and I feel like if you implement a ranked ladder, all of a sudden I feel like Ptcgo elevates drastically in terms of total like people watching live on Twitch.
It also benefits the juniors and seniors who they don't allow to play in any of their competitive stuff right now. You don't know how many parents have messaged me, tweeted me, commented on things, YouTube, Facebook, and told me, yeah, my son and daughter went to Legends of Runeterra because they can compete for cash in the ranked ladder seasonal tournaments, but they can't do anything in Ptcgo. They're like, Dad, why am I playing this game? It's pointless. Like, and that's where the disconnect in what they state is their plan really comes to fruition for me, because they say that, you know, Pokemon is for the kids, but there are kids that want to compete and they're holding these official competitions but not allowing them to compete. And I know it's because on the back end their legal team is very like, I don't know if they have a legal team in North America or if they only have a legal team in Japan, but I've been trying to change my Pokemon.com email for over 2 years so I can get my reward prize money. And like the player coordinator can't get my email to change. Like they're held up by the legal team. So I imagine that same kind of stuff goes to the legal team, not letting juniors and seniors play in these tournaments, even though, you know, Fortnite has tournaments that kids of all ages can play in for all these cash prizes. Like, you know, like Fortnite is so successful and they let kids play, like they let kids compete. It doesn't rot their brains. It doesn't turn them into well, actually probably does turn them into money hungry children, but that's just children in general now because of capitalism. But we're getting off the point. Bottom line is, I think the legal team has a lot of things to do with that issue, the juniors and seniors. Like that's the whole thing. Like I'm sure the TPCI employees would love to let juniors and seniors compete. But if they give us a ranked ladder and let us hook that up to our our Pokemon trainer account or whatever, and there's no monetary rewards for ranked ladder, there's no people getting streamed, there's no legal problems, and kids can still try to be the best and catch them all and whatever the heck it is.
Exactly. And I mean, they can do it too where like, and I think they do it for like the VGC, like in Sword and Shield, where like you're ranking towards the end of like a month or whatever the season length is. You get sort of these designated prizes, right? Depending on what rank you are when the season
I
ends.
play VGC just because it has a ranked ladder.
Yeah, I know.
It has a pretty typical ranked ladder. It's not as good as something like Hearthstone or Magic, but it's same thing. You get the Master Ball, then you get globally ranked.
Right.
There's no regions for, you know, North America, Asia, which there should be, but it's simple and it works.
Yeah.
And you get rewards as you play. They give you rewards like, hey, you've been playing the ranked ladder for 5 matches. Here's some rewards. And you get end of season rewards. They have online tournaments that you play the ranked ladder. They also use a ranked ladder ELO system for their Players Cup qualifiers.
So that's super cool. And it would make just so much sense for it to be in Ptcgo. And
I've been saying that they work hard instead of smart.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure. I've kind of stopped saying that because I'm not even sure if Japan would let them work smart at this point.
Right.
Because like, they're working hard to implement, okay, guys, we're going to send 50 keys out to everybody. They get to use 50 keys. We have to make sure the tournament rep system works. And then the top 256 from the tournament rep. But what if people are tied? We'll do it random alphabetical order. When they could just say, okay, we're going to publicize that's already in the game. And we're going to rank you off of that.
Right.
Go on the versus ladder. Have fun. You don't have to worry about if your account's connected. So many people don't get keys. I saw some people get 100 keys and then they got them taken away.
People got 100 keys? I wish
my friend Anthony from New York got 100, but then like a minute later he refreshed his client and he had 50.
That's sad.
seniors got keys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, all of this would be saved if they just made it simple. Just give the ranked ladder, make it simple. It's what people want anyway.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I do commend them for doing this new 50 events, do as best as you can thing, because I've never seen an online game do that before. It is cool and unique, but ranked ladder is just easier. Go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
No, you're good. And I mean, I know we're coming up on a close here for the most part. The big question that I guess that I had to say, how do you think Pokemon? Because it's no surprise now for a couple weeks that juniors and seniors, or a month now, that juniors and seniors got a hold of keys somehow. And I mean, that's a gigantic yikes. How do you think they're going to handle that?
They just DQ them and the people at the top get buys. Because
Okay.
Tristan Lackey, Tristan Lackey was #1 globally, but he didn't know that his Ptcgo account was his dad's account from when Ptcgo came out, and Tristan was a minor. And because of that, they just DQ'd him.
But I mean, for that, I agree on DQ. Do you think that there's any potential wiggle room for them to disqualify and pass
And let people up?
Seniors? Because I mean, for everyone, there's going to be people who are like, oh my god, I played on my friend's account, or I played on an account that's not mine. That's a whole other different issue. And I mean, I think everyone in the community knows of a few people who shouldn't be there. I see some usernames. Especially for people who play on these events. Or at least I can make assumptions. I'm not going to necessarily name drop them because I'm not entirely sure of everyone's story. But I do know some usernames of some juniors and seniors that I think are juniors and seniors, and I'm assuming their parents don't play, unlike your mom. And it's one of those things, are these kids going, like, I think there's a slight chance that they do a special thing for those players. They have to have a system to check it, I'd hope. But I mean, maybe that's me thinking too much. I personally agree with you on the DQ thing. I think that seems like the much easier route to go and be like, screw it, we'll give some buys. If you make top 50 this time, you're going to get a round 1 buy.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many DQs for no shows, account issues, wrong names don't match and stuff in Australia's and or I guess in Oceania and Europe in the second Players Cup. Like I remember seeing that there were like 10-20 players getting a round 1 bye. So like I don't think they have an issue with I think somebody from the Sable Eyes, I think Mitch might have gotten 2 buys in a row actually or something like that. Like
the first or the second Players Cup, but I'm pretty sure that there was buys that advanced into the phase 2.
Yeah, like into top 64 or the regional or whatever. Like their entire first day was just buys, and next weekend they had a play.
I has to eventually hit another buy, and it's like one of those things where it's one of those things where I think Oceania is always going to be riddled with a population issue, especially how they changed it going this season, and it's tough, especially like I feel for people like Cash and for other players in that region, but it's one of those things where I don't know. That's a whole other podcast. Maybe Maddie and I will have some content for next week.
Yeah, but because of all those buys, basically what I'm saying is I don't think they have an issue with mass DQing 30 seniors that got into the top 250.
That's exactly what they'll do. And even if there ends up only being 200 people coming out of North America, then
not a big deal.
Yeah,
because they're going down to 16 anyway.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, unless there's something else that Maddie or Celio you want to bring up, I think if you want to do some shout outs, any places that you want to drop it like it's hot.
Drop it.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to PoTownStore.com, my sponsor who I've been with for over a year, and they're great. Love them. If you're looking for Ptcgo codes, safe, reliable, easy, go over there. Use code Celio for 5% off. If you were listening to this and you didn't know who I was, my channel is Celio's Network everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. It'll be in the description below.
Yeah, for sure. If you came here because you wanted to hear the questions you asked, or you came here because I was on it, make sure you're subscribing to Maddie's and Zach's and their collective channel. And you're playing in some chill TCG tournaments and checking out Play.Limitless for all of your tournament needs and things like that. Other than that, I think I'm good to go. And thank you guys for having me on. It was a chill time.
Hey, that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? We're happy that you came on, man. It's we're trying to hit all the bases. We're trying to get all the great people that we enjoy and people that we're fans of on the podcast. So, you know, it was only a matter of time before you came on, and we
yeah.
we checked that one off the.
Maybe we'll have to bring you on for like a longer rant or something next time, or
Yeah.
maybe
No, for sure.
keep you about that Beyblade tournament back when you were 10. I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, we did.
When we sign off and see the ranked ladder, we'll have to make a follow-up video for Zach picking up my sealed product collection.
Like this, if we're ending on any note, I will find that email and I will make sure that I also get that cash too. Thanks for letting me know about that.
Oh, God. All right. Let's wrap it up, guys. Before we leave, I do want to let you guys know that we are sponsored by GG Tour. So, you know, big shout out to GG Tour. They're sponsoring, of course, our $3,000 regional style tournament that's happening this weekend. It's $10 to enter, but if you use the code CHILL2 at checkout, you get $2 off your entry. And Chill2, baby. And top 32 win at least $50 cash. It's a great tournament. Always one of the biggest tournaments of the month. so yeah, big shout out to them, guys. Link to register will be down in the description below too. So, all right, thank you, Luke, for coming on, man. It's you know, we really appreciate it. Hopefully, we get you on soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, Yellhorn number 9.
Number 9. All right, see you guys.
Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you could subscribe to help support me as a content creator. Thanks again, and have yourself a great one.